I'm glad that we are documenting this today with video, because the whole time he was speaking, I was thinking we've got to capture the wisdom. I think Brian used the word wisdom that he is sharing through all of his experiences when he transitioned out, so that we can get this word out and help other people. So, brother, thank you for being here. Thanks for coming. The floor is yours.
All right, everybody, I hope you can hear me. I've got a PowerPoint up, and I'm going to refer to some items up there. And then you can come over to our desk later if you're interested in Amazon as an opportunity, and take a look at some of this stuff. But if you just Google it, you'll find it, and we're smart enough to do that. If you have an attention gainer, we're probably not going to have time for that right now. You can come to the table. Our agenda today, you know who I am. I was Lieutenant Colonel. So part of the whole thing that we're going to talk about today under the plan is the mindset. So you heard a statement earlier today, just in the E4, all right, eliminate the just, okay? Whatever adjectives you use or adverbs you're using to describe yourself, they're going to be successful, all right? You're going to start with a positive mindset in everything you do. All right, what we're going to talk today, hey, I'm going to thank the Amazon team, I'm going to thank Dale, all the folks that are here today. A lot of those are recruiters, and yes, they get paid to do it. But you're also hearing some really good questions. All right, there's a question a moment ago about underemployment. 78 to 87% of veterans that transition feel underemployed. What does that lead to? We're smart enough to think about that. If you're not happy with your job, you're going to move. How many of y'all are in your first enlistment or contract? Right? So there's something there that is not the right fit, or something is there causing us to be here today. So we're going to optimize our time, and we're going to have a positive mindset. And if you don't, you're going to be doing this again. All right, it's an outstanding question, and it hits the nail on the head. Because you're investing time in your own self by being here today, doing the right thing, and for your family. The last thing you want to do is to have to redo it. There's a great question that we answered partially, all right, but it is going to be different for everyone. But the bottom line, what you asked back there, sir, was how do I get off to a fast start? So something we talk about in Amazon all the time. Every associate gets off to a fast start. How do you do it? All right, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about planning for and executing smart transition. What's smart? All right, well, if you're a planner in the Marine Corps, it's specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time-bound. They're smart goals. So some of our junior Marines may not know what that is, or junior service members. All right, y'all need to ready yourself for what you're getting ready to go into. Extremely competitive job market. Your start point will define your end point. So at Amazon, we work backwards. Where do I want to be? Where do I want to be when I retire 10, 15 years from now? What's my goal? Well, my goal is to stop working in 10 years. I'm 40. I was 44 at the time. So 54, I'm done. How do I get to that point? Why was Amazon the right fit for me? I've already run a business before I came in the Marine Corps. But I wanted to learn how to run it better. Every business in Amazon is its own. Every manager in Amazon is an owner. And we learn how to run businesses. All right? So I'm going to give you my transition story on why it was the right culture fit, and starting off with that mindset. We're going to talk about mentoring and team building. I'm a North American Fulfillment Operations rep on my team. I've got two others. All right, Colin over there, he'll wave, and then you heard from Jose. But we've got a success story, and Chris alluded to it, right? He already got his first promotion. So whether it's with Amazon or Pike Corporation or Advanced Auto or PPD, whatever opportunity you decide you're going to take, how do you get to your end state? And my take on it is it's not job hopping. One of the reasons why companies want you is because you are typically retained by your first employer longer than other pipelines of hiring. But we already said, right? Right? But there was a great point. We already said that veterans are leaving because of underemployment. So how do we maximize? How do we optimize our time and maximize where we start? All right? It's going to start with some work, guys, and that's the bottom line. All right? So I'm going to leave this slide up for a second. Some questions to think about as we work through this. All right? And I'll refer to my notes, but that mindset. So if you're in North American fulfillment operations, and how did I know Amazon was going to be the right fit for me? In Amazon, in operations, you're a platoon commander. You are right back at being that company first sergeant, platoon commander, company gunny. You are a leader, and you are employed and part of an owner in that building to care for, feed, all the things that we do in the Marine Corps. Everything your people do, you're responsible for. All right, so when you look up at those boards, at that slide, and some questions to think about, how are you going to explain to your significant other day one after transition that you made the right choice? Right? How do you define your success and your happiness? All right. So it was the right fit for me. Being an area manager, being in North American fulfillment operations was the right fit. How did I know? It was a lot of research, guys. 5 years out from transition, there was an opportunity that the Marine Corps had for early out, right? And the writing was on the wall for anybody who was a major. And I was a major at the time, so if you don't get selected, you're probably going to be getting out, right? Well, I happened to get selected, and I'd probably still be in the Marine Corps to this day if my only other options were to go to the Pentagon. But I was able to stay operational, and at that kind of troop leading step level, right, that BAMSIS level with Marines and sailors for 18 and a half years of my career. In fact, Lou's over here, and he'll tell you that, you know, the last 3 years of my life were interesting, because I was not in the infantry, recon, armored recon. I wasn't doing any of that stuff. I wasn't advising, right? I was in a headquarters battalion, and it was a struggle. All right, but we're going to optimize our time, guys. Think of the words you use when optimize your time. How do I get off to a fast start? Well, how much time do you spend on Snap, Face, whatever, right? What if you spent that time on LinkedIn? I know Jose didn't, right? He said he didn't, right? There's truth, right? I love Jose. But if you're transitioning for the first time and you're not on LinkedIn and you're not spending that time on LinkedIn, you're wrong. Is that 30% of current hires are straight off of LinkedIn at the management level? So if you want to be one of those 30%, I would maximize my profile. I would ensure that my profile was synced to my resume. I would ensure that my profile was synced to my elevator pitch. I've got 2 minutes of time. When you go in front of these folks today, how do I get off to a fast start? I attend a hiring event. Have I researched the companies that are going to be there? Do I even know the opportunities that are going to be available if I go to that website? There's people that have attended these events and walked away with job offers. Do you even know if you should accept that offer? We've gone to Glassdoor. Do you know what the start point for the salary is supposed to be? Does that variable even matter to you and your spouse? Have you set SMART goals with your spouse? And sat down and said, all right, these are my short-term goals, these are my long-term goals. Somewhere in the middle is my interim goal. And my interim goals will get me to, we all know in the Marine Corps, right, we want speed, momentum, right, and velocity. High velocity. You want to optimize that time. If you get into a looping experience in your career, the doors will just explode open. Chris has been in Amazon for how long? A year? 9 months?
1 year.
1 year. And he's already got his first promotion. And he's going to Nashville, to our Center of Excellence. So you got your short-term goals, you got your long-term goals. You work backward from your long-term goals, and that's how you identify your interim goals. All right, your short-term goals, you're going to knock them down. All right, those are the ones you identify with your spouse, and you just start crushing, right? I'm going to attend these hiring events, I'm going to get my resume done, I'm going to send it to Hire Heroes. Hire Heroes is going to give me some feedback. Then I'm going to use my master resume that I got back from Hire Heroes. I'm going to edit it, make sure it's correct. Every job description I go to every different website, I'm going to make sure that the keywords on the requirements, the qualifications are in that resume, and that's my resume for that opportunity. So I talked to a guy who was in my program. I was baffled, right? Military Pathways. It's our elite program in Amazon. He had applied for like 300 open opportunities. He got in, right? It's all sales. He lasted 1 day at Amazon. Don't let that be you, right? And 2, for the Amazon Military Pathways, like, this is it, guys. We recruit for 17 MBA programs, all the elite. The Military Pathways program, it doesn't get any high. The bar it's the highest it is. The expectations are the highest. We want the best in Amazon. We hire and develop the best, right? So a lot of folks come to the Amazon to go, hey, what do you guys got for me? This is my background. Ask the questions now, guys, because if you ask that to HR, you're going to be at the bottom, right? We are volunteers. We are here to help, right? You need to do your research before you come to these events. Does that make sense? Okay? So we talked about our resume and how we're going to make sure that that is tailored to each specific opportunity. We talked about having a positive mindset, all right? So that mindset becomes more and more positive when you have SMART goals. When you start achieving goals in life, right? Like putting your feet on the yellow footprints, raising your right hand, and you keep getting those affirmations during your career that you've been doing the right thing, right? That's positive reinforcement. Same thing in your transition, right? Maintain the positive mindset. If you're around other Marine sailors, whatever service members with a negative mindset, what are you going to do? I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to college. Yeah, you know what? I didn't believe you when I was in Excel, and I don't believe you now. Right? And nobody you talk to believes you, right? And make sure you hold your friends accountable, all right? Because they're the same ones that are going to be knocking on your door in 3 months when they're not ready. You've already made a successful transition. And frankly, you're not going to have time for them. And we don't want to leave our friends behind, right? So whatever you're learning today, take it back to your buddies and make sure you share it, all right? Market mindset. You heard some things about know what your worth is. All right, have a market mindset. Get your return on investment. Right, you're here, your buddy's not here. All right, you're going to invest some time. You're going to teach them how to do it. Know what you're worth. You heard it said before. Know what you're worth. Don't have unreasonable expectations. You know, talk to a lot of them. I'm getting out of the worth $100,000. Okay, yeah. If you want to be a contractor, you want to go overseas and do the same thing that you're doing right now, and trust me, it's not as nice, right? Because everybody out there is to get you. You're not going to start off at 100K. Be realistic, all right? I caution you on just open communication with HR, right? Get I do, so a little bit more about my background. I volunteer for 6 organizations. The Honor Foundation, Veterani, Hire Heroes, American Corporate Partner, a beta tester for Amazon and American Corporate Partners. If you don't know what that is, well, we'll talk a little bit more at the end. You better get a mentor, all right? You need a center mentor, you need a circle of people that you're relying on, but you need one person you can go back and just bounce ideas off of. Right? No holds barred, nothing's going to be held against you. You need one person that you can ask anything to. Okay? And it's probably not me, because I don't know you. All right? So, unless we have that relationship. All right? But you have to start somewhere and develop that. All right? We talked about mindset. I'm gonna bust through some of these. Planning for and executing a smart transition. So now you got your SMART goals, right? So how do you, we talked about market mindset, let's talk about that goal setting piece, okay? So we talked about short-term, interim, and long-term goals. But you want to be aggressive in your goal setting, all right? You want to work backwards from your long-term goals. So if I want to run my own business in 10 years, how do I get there? Amazon was a platform to do it. All right? If you looked at my LinkedIn profile and you look up Giles Walker, you will see a headline. That headline is synced to my resume, it's synced to my elevator pitch. It's synced to everything I did in the Marine Corps, record breaker, right? Capture attention. Something that captures attention, not, hey, transitioning veteran. Great, all right, put that in there. All right, because that comes up on a lot of searches. But is that really the first thing that you want to come up? Record breaker, right? You can look up my profile now if you want to. Lead people. Help them set short-term, interim, long-term goals to achieve long-term personal and professional success. Pretty simple. You know where it comes from? Who's a master in the Marine Corps Leading Marines Club? Because it's right out of Leading Marines, right? That's it. I cheated. That's what we do, right? So what I add to it while working hard, the Amazon guys know what it is. Just added the Amazon motto. You guys know what that is? Work hard, have fun, make history. And I just added that to my tagline literally 6 hours before I went into my interview. So why does Dale, and why do other guys get me a keynote speak, and, you know, been helping some other guys launch programs and do stuff, and they get asked to do stuff like this? Everybody has a different way to tailor the transition. I got 3 job offers. I applied to 3 jobs. You know, I got asked to do things that I was just amazed. But I started with a positive mindset. And all you guys are capable of doing it, all you gals are capable of doing it. But the goal setting piece, I worked backwards from my long-term goal, right? My short-term goals were all smart. And that last piece on being time-bound is critical for you to align your goals properly into short-term, interim, and long-term goals. Work back from that long-term piece. All right? Do your gap analysis. There's a phenomenal organization back here, and these guys were mentors of mine. I heard, and you're going to hear a lot of military members say program management. Amazon is not going to hire you out the box to be a program manager, right? You're going to have to learn how we do business in Amazon. You're going to have to learn the business. Different companies are a different way. Google maybe a little bit different, right? But the companies I was interested in, program management, they were not interested in me having that credential. I was in the program management course with Onward to Opportunity. Phenomenal organization. If I had been able to like backtrack and walk into Shane's office and say, hey man, I just found out, you know, what they really want me to have is Lean Six Sigma. I would have, but I didn't know that until I was already in the interview process with those companies. I'd say that was, like, if there was one error that I made in my transition, that would be it. Right, but I still got job offers. And I still asked those questions while I was interviewing. So be curious, learn and be curious. Constantly. Don't learn and look like an idiot. Like, if you're doing your homework on the company, it's going to come out in your interview. But ask the relevant questions. Hey, I looked into this role. I think I'm the right fit. I'm in this course right now to get this credential in program management, but I've also got some Lean Six Sigma background. What does Amazon value more? Lean Six Sigma. That was a quick answer. Walked into Shane's office the next day. I was like, dude, I don't know. I spent a lot of time on this. He's like, dude, just finish the course. Don't worry about the test. But go in there and know what you're doing. They're there to help. Shane, thank you. All right. Onward to Opportunity. Phenomenal opportunity for you guys to bridge your skills gaps. Certifications and licensure are critical for your transition. If you're like, hey, you know what, I've been, 0621, I'm a comp guy. Okay, that's great. Are you certified in Amazon Cloud? Right? I know you're a radio guy in comp, right? I need you to be something different, because we don't use Prick 77s, 118, Foxtrot. We don't use those, right? You guys with me, any comm guy? I know there's one, right? You guys come and talk to us. Get your certifications. Cisco's great. Take advantage of it. All right, even if you're not interested in a job with Cisco. Phenomenal organization, phenomenal company. All right? Have a backup. This is one thing I had. I was blessed. I was teaching already in the Marine Corps. Like I told you already, I love the Marine Corps. Again, you've heard it. It's a hard decision, right? But I wasn't going to the Pentagon. I wasn't falling into that trap. Wake up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to, bust bureaucratic rear end all day, and get home at 2100 and do it all again the next day, to not see your family, which is why you've been doing all this in the first place, right? So that wasn't for me. So I needed something, all right? And for the spouses that are here, make sure that we're taking this in. Same thing is for you. There's so many opportunities out there for you. That is a huge push for all of these companies right now, is spousal employment, because we know if we assist spouses, that the other side of the spouse is likely to stay in the military or transition to the same company. So it's a win-win, right? Because we know we're going to help DoD out, we know we're going to get some return on investment, right? Okay, so identify a 100% sure thing as a backup. Have something in your kit bag that it's a job. It's not, hey, you want fries with that, right? This is something you're going to be happy with the rest of your life. That's your safe bet, and that enables you to take the risks. Guys, I was recruited. I was one of 8 finalists to be the Director of Health and Environmental Control for the state of South Carolina. I have no experience. I blow things up and shoot people, right? I did an asbestos investigation. The recruiters were embarrassed. The starting salary was over $214,000. I can't even believe they make that much. I want to talk to I'm not a South Carolina rep or a citizen, but if I was, I want to talk to my reps. What are we talking about? And why do they want me? Part of that goes back to our comm strategy, okay? So we're going to discipline our schedule. In the last bit, I've talked about it before, how much time you spend on Snapchat, FaceTime, Facebook, whatever it is, spend it on LinkedIn, all right? Planning, it's phased, iterative, continuous. You're going to be time-bound. It is going to fly past you. I'm hiking, I told James, where's James? James Simpson's. I'm going to hike the Appalachian Trail. He's right down there at Pike Quarters. If you don't talk to Pike, you're wrong. All right? Great company. And he's a great guy. All right? But, hey, I'm going to hike the Appalachian Trail. I'm big and I like doing that stuff. Right? I'm doing it. I'm going to spend 2 weeks. I'm not going to do the whole thing, right? I had my routes. Didn't do any of it, guys. Lost those 2 weeks. Didn't do my Amazon interviews. Had no idea I was going to get the offer. The day I didn't, the day I got the offer, I was like, they said I was going to hear today, and it's 1400. Like, hey, you're the first call. I was like, thank goodness. All right. How much time do I have to make a decision? Because I had the sites that I could go to. How much time do I have? You have 20 minutes. Oh, holy smokes! All right. Let me find the distance away from my house so I can come back and see my kids. Because that's the secret, right, guys? Well, I'm going to get out, and job offers are going to just fall from the sky in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Like, you're not working in Jacksonville, North Carolina. If that's what you want fries with, that is probably a good question to start with, right? Because there isn't any other business in Jacksonville, North Carolina. All right, so focus, purpose statement. All right, for me, I already told you mine. I scaled it, and I linked it and synced it to my communication strategy. And that's part of getting off to a fast start. All right, let's go back real quick. I knew what I wanted specifically, and I also knew what I didn't want, right? EXO and Lou's great, right? There's some union problems on base, and I was like the receiving end of all of that chicken soup, right? So Yeah, it was awesome. So I knew I didn't want anything to do with any unions. I didn't want slow growth, all right? And I knew I didn't want to be limited by hierarchy. There's a lot of guys out there who program management, gonna work for a big defense contractor, right? Okay, you're gonna wear your rank for the rest of your life, unless you get your PhD, okay? So everybody in that industry knows that. That's the research you gotta do, all right? Scale it. And we talked about that. And then that's the question. Think about your reach. What's my reach? What do you think it is? What do you think your reach is? I'm honestly asking you, like, what do you think your reach is on LinkedIn? It's 7 times whatever your contacts are. And then 7 times on top of that. And then if you follow a company, so you identify the companies you want to work for, they're going to look at you. Their HR is looking at you if you follow them. Your planning considerations, there's a lot, okay? We talked about skills, skills gap, we talked about culture fit. Why? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Why am I going to be happy? Where am I going to be happy? Right? I got like 2 minutes. I got to wrap it up, guys. And I'm gonna get on to, okay. I'll just leave that up there for you guys to think about. One of the key points that's up there, understand your companies that you're interested in, understand their timeline. It's a business. It's not like a government budget where at the end of the year, money falls from the sky and you gotta buy a bunch of TVs, right? Because somehow we can't think of anything else to buy, right? So we'll buy a bunch of TVs. This is a business. And you better go in the interview understanding that. Before you get to the interview, you should have a good idea of when they're hiring for the positions that you want to start in. All right? Because it's different. Every company, every industry, it's different. Military pathways, we're not always hiring. In Amazon, we don't hire operations managers from November to December because we're in the middle of peak. We don't have time to train you because the customer comes first, right? Know your business, all right? Sync your elevator pitch, refine your transition timeline. And I'm gonna throw up another slide that I have for you guys on, there's some ideas to think about, but there's enough out there that you've heard on mentoring. I already discussed the fact that you need somebody like a center, you need a circle, and then you're going to build out from there with your mentor plan. But the last piece that I want to leave up there for you, really, aside from, there's some eye candy back here. All right, you can come to our desk and see that if you really want. All right, but how do I get off to a fast start? So, real quick, this is a great question, and it's what everybody is thinking but doesn't know how to say, right? So I'm going to optimize my time. I'm going to start doing it today, right? You're here. I'm going to start doing it today. It's going to continue tomorrow. I'm going to discipline my schedule, and I'm going to ditch distractions. Somebody's a waste in your life, that's fine. There might be great people, but ditch it, all right? You don't have time for them, and you don't have time for the distractions. Commit to a positive mindset, all right? What you should have done in preparation today was identify 5 companies that were going to come today, job descriptions and job opportunities that you had. Alex had a great one earlier. Hey, I'm interested in AWS, right? Alex, raise your hand. Alex, I'm interested in AWS. I'm getting my Microsoft certification. I know that's part of the background. How do I start? How do I get into AWS? You're doing the right thing, Alex. Keep it up, all right? So figure it out. Come to these events. Do your homework ahead of time and ask the questions. The guys and gals that come to these events are here to help you. All right, commit 1 hour a day. 1 hour a day to identify the right culture fit for you. You're going to identify that off the company websites. You're going to identify that off their leadership traits, and you're going to identify, or principles, and you're going to identify that off of the people that you meet from those companies. All right? Identify if you're 12 months or more removed from your transition, I want you guys and gals to identify elite leadership programs All right, there'll be manager to executive programs. JP Morgan has one, Amazon has one. Antonio Rodriguez, who's one of my proteges, like he's one of my people, just got hired. He's the first, he was a chief warrant officer. He's the first non-officer to get hired into GE's program. There are programs out there for you you don't even know exist unless you do the research. If you're 12 months or more removed from your transition date, do your homework, start networking into those opportunities, because what those opportunities will do will set you on a path to promotion. Your start point in these companies may pigeonhole you into other opportunities for promotion. You're going to commit to setting SMART goals. All right? I want you to sync those with your spouse or partner, because if you have your individual goals, it ain't going to work. And we all know that, right? Who's married? Right? So if you got your own goals and you don't talk about it with your spouse, then it's not happening. All right? So get a mentor and you build your network. You're going to start planning. You're going to start planning. And it starts with the goal setting, and then you're going to work backwards from your long-term goal. You're going to draft a resume. You're going to hireheroes.org. You're going to request resume assistance. It may come back with a couple errors in it. Make it right. That's going to be your baseline. We talked about then seeking out job descriptions by research on websites. You're going to go to those company boards, find those jobs, and then you're going to tailor your resume. I tell you guys, I get it all the time. Here, I'm going to give you my resume. Guess what? Your resume is going in the trash. Okay? If you don't tailor your resume, it doesn't do anything. I can't get it past the hiring manager because you haven't tailored it to the job description. Right? There's a lot of unrealistic expectations out there with veterans. I'm a veteran. Yeah, that's the entitled, right? Do your homework, right? Be ready, because the opportunities are out there and it's amazing. Redraft your resume, sync it to your LinkedIn, and practice your pitch. There's a movie, you probably, a lot of you guys are too young to know, but I don't want to buy anything that's been bought or sold. I don't want to sell anything. There's a sales guy over here. He knows what I'm talking about. You're in sales. You're selling yourself. It's the most important sale that you've ever had. All right, practice your pitch. Keep attending these events, and you're going to start looping. All right? You're going to start looping because you started from the long-term goals and you work backwards. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions? If you have questions on this, come back and see me, because it ties into be ready to interview. All right? So the confidence is going to build. We're going to have a question here in just a minute. I know there's a couple, and Dale's going to get us going here. All right? But before we get it, feel free to get me on LinkedIn. Feel free to get anybody that you meet here on LinkedIn. We're here to help you. All right? Just careful with the expectation management on the response time, okay? And if you're contacting HR, I implore you to keep it to one sentence. All right? I am not HR. I don't have time to read, 1,500 different messages on LinkedIn that are more than 1 or 2 sentences long. Does that make sense? All right, so, hey, I met you at this event, 5 W's, right? This is my name, this is what I do, this is what I want, right? How can you help me? Or how can I best prepare for this opportunity? Right, that's the best one I get, because they've identified the job opportunity already. How can you help, or can you help me with this opportunity, right? And if you don't know, so what we'll do in Amazon is we'll identify who the hiring manager is. You've done all that work. If you've done everything that we talked about today, and you send one of us your resume, we'll get it to the hiring manager. It'll go at the top of the pile. Otherwise, how many resumes do you think Amazon gets? How many associates does Amazon have? I talked to James earlier. He hired like 300 veterans last year. Yeah, right? About 6% of Amazon's headcount is veteran. We have over 500,000 associates. Marine Corps is just like a drop in the bucket, right? Where's Amazon? Do you guys want to work for Amazon? All of you do, right? It's a battery in this. It's the Alexa because we want to make everything that you have in your life better. That's my pitch for Amazon. Right? Boom. Just drop it, right? It's a true story. All right. Seriously, there's not a guy in Amazon that I've met that isn't totally committed to our customer. All of you guys are customers. We know that. Some of you all will work with us in Amazon. Some of you won't. But everybody that's here from all these companies, Dale is passionate about veteran transition. I wouldn't volunteer for 6 different organizations. Look, what do you guys think? Do I get a bonus from any veteran that I refer to Amazon? Well, there used to be a program for that, right? But there isn't, right? So it is everybody that's here today. It's here to help. You guys should be helping each other, sharing lessons learned, and making it better. Any questions for me? I think you do, right? What's up, brother? He was one of these guys on the outside that helped me in my transition not too long ago, about a year and a half ago. So, yeah, it's a true story.
I always like to change my pitch depending on the audience, but also the job description. So I wanted to ask you, what is your process when you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Amazon was my number one. So yeah, I was synced to Amazon. So absolutely, you should definitely be doing that. But you don't want to change your LinkedIn profile so many times that everybody in HR that is following you is going to get that update, right? That's going to put you at the top when you change your profile. So the trouble is you're like, these are my top 5, right? Let's say you don't get offers from the top 4 and your timeline is off, right? We're gonna refine our timeline, but it doesn't always work out, right? Hey, I'm going to interview with Amazon on the phone here, then I got my in-person pod interview, and then I'm going to find out, well, what if I have my Google, or what if I have my Apple interview? You're like, would I do that? Well, you know what? Amazon's my number 1. So that's what I'm going for. But yes, you should definitely sync your pitch and work your timeline back so that you have enough time and you don't look like Johnny come lately. Does that make sense? And I don't know if that's like offensive to anybody, but I don't care. Yeah, right. So I don't know if Johnny comes.
What?
Yeah.
A minute or 2?
Yeah, I think so. Don't you think? Yep. So elevator pitch, that's what you're talking about. Like your elevator pitch, honestly, so for me, it's about 30 seconds. I just want to get it back. And then the other thing that I do is I ask them, right? I ask them a question right after my elevator pitch, right? So, because you're pitching them who you are, right? 20-year Marine Corps, or 21-year Marine Corps, whatever it is, right? And your synced elevator pitch is your headline in LinkedIn. And they're like, and I think I fit in your organization at this position. What's your take on that? Or, what it's something, but put the ball back in their court. Or tell me a little bit about yourself. The first question they're going to ask you, Amazon's not going to ask you questions in your interview. Tell me a little about yourself. Same thing, right? I mean, you're a NetApp guy, right? Yeah, we talked, right? Yeah, so put it back in their court. I think what you're saying is, do I want to have a conversation with this guy, right? Are you so uptight that you can't do it like I'm a robot? Right? No, they want to have they want to work with you, right? It's a sale. Does that make sense? Is that right? You guys agree?
Yeah, make sure you don't recite it word for word. It's not to memorize something. It's like a robot. It's a conversation piece.
Absolutely. But so, yes, I agree. But if you've done it enough times, right? It almost is. It's tailorable, right? So, what's any Marine infantry guys in here? Okay, so what's the Marine Corps mission? What's the squad's mission?
Locate, close with.
We all know it, right? Well, you can't do that. You can't go. You're not locating, close with, and destroying the enemy by what? Right? Yeah, we all know what it is, right? But tailor it to that open position. Okay? Make sense? What else you got? Because that's a great point. All right, there's some great breakout groups here, guys. There's no question that's bad.